Welcome to another In Wheel Time podcast, a 30-minute mini version of the In Wheel Time car show that airs live every Saturday morning, 8 to 11 a.m. Central. It's the In Wheel Time Car Show, your weekly go-to all things automotive place. Howdy, along with Mike Out of This World Mars, King Conrad DeLong. We need more of this, Jeff Zekin. I'm Don Armstrong. Glad that you could join us today. Thank you so much. It is a hot, sticky Saturday out in Houston, Texas. I'm here to tell you.
Yeah.
Speaking of hot and sticky, here he is, direct from Emmons Motors. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Gary Emmons himself. How in the heck are you, sir? Look at you all dressed up and everything.
Good to see all of you. And Jeff, I'm glad to see that you finally got a seat at the table.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Exactly. How the heck are you, my friend?
Oh, everything's good. We are just so busy. We have so much inventory.
Oh, that's good.
And just, this thing it's a monster. It's a far cry from what it was years ago at a little bitty, makeshift house into an office building on an acre and a half of land,
Well, and you say that your inventory is large. I have to ask, that's unusual because used cars are at a premium, both trying to buy them, find them, and then ultimately sell them.
Right.
Well, we had talked before. Luckily, I have, other members of the family, my three other brothers, and they're primarily tasked with buying inventory for the dealership, right? So between the three of those, I think currently we're at 857 vehicles in inventory right now.
Wow.
Here.
Wow. You're making all the new car dealers jealous.
Yeah.
I'm telling you.
Well, I'll tell you what, if the new car stores need inventory for the used cars, they probably should pick up the phone and call us.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Well, I will tell you that's huge.
That's impressive.
I don't know of a new car dealer in the United States of America that has that many
Well, with
cars.
that kind of inventory, it gives them an option to have a nice spread of utilities, CUVs, SUVs, cars, pickup trucks, and vans and stuff. So, and I know every time I drive by, you usually have a pretty fun selection of Jeeps.
We do. We are very well known for our Jeeps and our lifted trucks. But Conrad, you bring up a good point. We'll always try to gauge what we're selling more of. Now, obviously, Jeeps and trucks, and especially, are probably number one seller if you could draw any kind of parallels to, okay, what are we doing day in and day out?
Right.
But it's interesting when you look at the sales report at the end of the night, how it's such a wide variety of every different thing you could imagine. We've got it and we're selling it.
Well, I think that's because of your inventory and your vast amount of inventory. You're probably pulling people in from a further demographic because you do have the inventory.
We do. Just this week, we sold three cars in particular that I can remember. All went. One went to Minnesota, one went to Iowa, and one went to California.
Oh wow!
It's just crazy.
So internet sales, I guess.
How many people do you have managing your internet sales department right now?
Believe it or not, I've got two really good guys that really put in the work, and they do a great job.
I was going to say because internet sales has become such an integral part of everybody's store right now, and if you've got two guys that are able to rodeo that, you got two high performing guys doing it.
That you got it. And what happens? They're primarily tasked with just getting the inventory online with good quality photos. But obviously, when the phone rings and email leads come in, depending on how many salespeople we have at the time, we always try to staff 15 to 18 if it's possible. They're the ones with the heavy burden of, doing the walk around videos, right. the whether it's Zoom or FaceTime or whatever. They're the one that's really doing all the heavy lifting after the initial finding of the vehicle online.
Gary,
but I'll tell you.
Go ahead. I'm sorry,
guys. What I'll tell you, what we have to be careful of. The auction prices are starting to fall a little bit. So here we have a lot of inventory, but you got to be careful because, you have to sell in the same market that you purchased the inventory in. Otherwise, you're going to be left with a really
upside down.
Yeah, big time, right? So I believe if I'm correct, the Manheim auction prices have fallen the last 8 weeks, right? The last 2 months, the prices have steadily declined. Well, In addition to that, the last 2 weeks, they have declined more than they did. I guess they haven't declined that much since they did last fall in the last 2 weeks, if that kind of gives you a gauge on what's happening with the used car market anyway.
So you have to have selected the right vehicles for inventory, and you have to turn them so that your inventory stays, I'll say, in sequence with your purchasing, again, so you don't get caught upside down and stuff. So that's pretty important. You got to have some smart folks buying, paying attention to what the market's doing.
Automotive News here just recently published a story about car dealerships, with lack of a better term, all car dealerships, and turning used car inventory. And I did not realize that in refurbishing these used cars, that having them in the shop more than 2 days is not kosher. They need to get those cars in the shop, get them repaired, get them cleaned up, get them ready to resale within 2 days. Otherwise, they're losing money.
Yeah. In a perfect world, yes. I've got a friend of mine that owns a couple of dealerships in Louisiana, and we were sharing stories. He's actually another fellow racer. We were sharing stories about how long does it take you from the time you acquire the vehicle to the time it makes it to your front line. He said if he doesn't make his within 3 days, he's really trying to demand answers, right?
Right.
Ours is just because we have so much going on, it's a lot longer than that. But for example, right now, I have 157 vehicles in line just for detail. We had to hire an outside detail company to come in to assist our 15 detailers that we currently have on staff.
Wow.
Just to keep up.
So it's always a heavy push. If you have to be paying attention the entire time, or you're going to lose a lot of money.
Well, not only that, but I mean, you've got to be able to do a good job so when the car gets up to the front line, that it is prepared just like all the rest of them and ready for sale, and they don't have, ripped upholstery or a bad carpet in them.
Or even just dirty. I mean,
dirty.
It's got to have that wow factor when they open the door. You don't want it to have a funky odor either, you know.
Yep. Yeah.
Back before COVID hit, the brothers that were going to the actual auctions, talking to other dealers there that were buying vehicles for their lot or buying as wholesalers for somebody else's lot, they all made fun of us because when we would discuss about who was looking at what car and what they were going to bid on it, right, we would have more reconditioning costs than they would factor on the same car. And then they would say, what are you talking about? So we would compare reconditioning notes. And they laughed like, you guys do all that? You're crazy. We don't do any of that. We just put it on the front line. Well, and I think that's why our reputation has followed us year after year after year, because people know that when they buy a car from our dealership, they know the quality they're going to get.
Right.
I don't believe in selling stuff with ripped upholstery, worn out tires, bad brakes. We probably do even more little cosmetic touch up on the paint more than we should. If the bumpers have a little bug spray, a lot of guys, they'll just, because it won't show up in pictures, right? They'll just leave it, put it on the front line and let it go. We won't. We won't paint the bumpers on the car. We'll take the bumpers off the car, spray them and put them back on, because that's the way we'd want it done if it was our own personal car.
And it's that quality of car that you deliver to your customers is what brings them back.
And I have to chime in here and say, to me, I would rather pay a little bit more money for that kind of detail. Mm-hmm. I'm spending a lot of money on a car, $20,000, $30,000, even $40,000 on a used car. That's a lot of money. I want to have the bumpers looking good.
Yeah, it's the value.
You're right.
Not only the value of the service that you get.
Keep in mind, at our dealership, we do the 300-mile low price guarantee. So not only are you still getting the level of service and the quality of the pre-owned car, but you're also still getting it at a price. If you give me an honest comparison and go apples to apples, I'm still going to be cheaper than the guy down the road that needs a little bit more money, a little more TLC invested in it.
Yeah.
So with your 800-plus vehicles in inventory, roughly, and I know it kind of moves around, how many do you sell a month?
Last month we sold just a little shy of 285 cars. Okay. And that's retail. That's not wholesale stuff.
Okay, so you're turning your inventory a little bit less than every 60 days.
Correct.
Okay, which is market That's kind of market
It's
sensitive.
probably ahead
In
of
a
the
normal
market.
market,
It's
yeah,
ahead of the
good.
curve.
Well, you're ahead of the curve because
He's
you
got
have
the inventory, right.
You know, the struggle everybody else has is they don't have inventory, and because of that, they worry about having the next car, so they're not as willing to wheel and deal on this one.
Right.
Okay, now let's change hats. Let's talk about drag racing, shall we?
We're waiting for the Wally
Where's
to slide
Wally?
in behind you.
Where's Wally?
Yeah.
Well,
So go ahead.
we have a race next weekend, a national event in Topeka. I heard you guys make the announcement earlier on your show.
Yeah.
That's our next national event that we're slated to attend. After that, the next national event will be obviously the U.S. Nationals. That's the one where we had the two Wallies that Terry and Jerry both won stock and super stock last year. So we're going to go back and always
Defend.
you can never have enough Indy wins, right? Never.
Yeah.
So we're going to try and take another swing at that again. My brother Jerry, actually, he's going to give it depending on how Topeka goes and how Indy goes, he's going to give it a run for the world championship. He's currently number 2 in the NHRA Division 4 point standings in stock, but he's going to run for the world championship. Depending on the outcome of the next race, maybe 2 races.
Wow.
Nice.
So, well, good luck on that.
Yeah.
I wanted to talk to you as a racer. What do you think about the Baytown track shutting down in the
same
spring?
thing, Don.
You know, obviously, we've been spoiled for a long time, having it so close. We always had a divisional race. If we wanted to go test and tune our cars, it was an easy 30-minute drive to the track. The track was always prepped just perfectly. So it's going to be a real big disappointment not to have that race here anymore. And obviously, in Houston, there's a lot of drag racing fans. You know, you can look in the stands and see how many people love the sport on Sunday or even when they had Friday night qualifying, right? So it's very disappointing. It's going to be tough. It's going to be a culture shock, actually. When you want to test, you're going to have to, either go to an 8th mile track or close by, or maybe even I hate to say it, but even like drive 3 or 4 hours to Dallas and test at the Texas Motorplex. Right. You don't want to do that, but it's going to be tough. And I hate it. I hate that the track's not going to be there, but obviously as a businessman, I understand why they did it. If I'm in the same position, I make the exact same decision that they made.
Well,
sure.
There is plenty of room on the billboard for Emmons Motors Speedway, and I'm thinking, somewhere where you just pick a place. I'm thinking Angleton, somewhere down south, closer to the coast. Property still available down there. Emmons Motors Speedway's got a ring to it.
Yeah. I'll tell you, this business is hard enough. The last thing I want is to have to deal with a racetrack.
Run it by your brothers.
I know where there's fixing to be a really good track manager available in about a year.
Yeah. Austin Hayward, he's one of the best. There's no question.
Well, so all you still got the same group of cars, and y'all just keep them tweaked up, and you're obviously trying to make some headway in your division and as well as your class of cars, that sort of thing.
Yep, the faster cars in our fleet are the Cobra Jet supercharged Mustangs. The most common, probably what we're most well known for, is our big block 69 Camaros. Mm-hmm. Matter of fact, in preparation for the U.S. Nationals, we actually took the existing 427 engine out of my nephew Will's car, and we put in a 396 that's prepped. We use it just for this race at Indy. It's really fast. And, with him, this is going to be his first trip to the U.S. Nationals. So we want to give him everything he needs to win in competition.
Who does your motors?
So we have the 390, different cars have different engine builders. But
right.
For the 396, it's a guy named Brian Tilburg out of Pennsylvania. He does a phenomenal job. And he's known for the big block 69 Camaro combination. So he's a good engine builder. He gives you what you pay for. And that's hard to find.
Yeah.
So switching from the 427 to the 396, you're also going for a class change. Is that for the new driver, or is that for trying to jump into a class that the car is going to be uber competitive in?
That's a great question, Conrad. So with the 427, it'll stay in the same class that the car runs in, but the weight is different. You have to carry a different amount of weight.
Because of the different cubic inch, yeah.
That's right. So, but right now, the 396 combination we have, we think we've been running that a little longer, and we think that's just a better combination to go to Indy with in case we have to run another car in the same category, and they call like a heads-up run.
Right.
We obviously want to have everything we could possibly have for that run if it comes down to it.
Okay. Oh, cool.
As a matter of fact, a couple of years ago, Jerry lost in the final round at Indy. Not obviously he won last year, but prior to that, in the semifinal round. So imagine you're down to the last 4 cars at the U.S. Nationals, right? Heads up run. If you don't get by, you're not running for the championship trophy, right?
Yeah.
So it was a phenomenal semifinal race. We actually streamed it live from our Facebook feed, and it was one of the most highly followed and watched events we've had in years on our Facebook feed.
Kind of like an in-wheel time event.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, Don, you've been to Indy, I'm sure, haven't you?
Yes, sir, I have, yes.
Yeah, it's just an experience like no other.
That's true.
Remember being a kid, my dad taking his single car hauler with his race car on the back of it. It was a single cab truck. I remember standing out with him by the curb with his suitcase. He put the suitcase in the race car, and 2 of his buddies rode with him. 3 guys in a single cab truck all the way to the U.S. Nationals. And that truck wouldn't go over 55 miles an hour, right? And we have old, 8mm footage of them stopping at gas stations. Like, you just, as a kid, you remember doing that side, watching and wanting to go, thinking, one of these days I'm going to go to the U.S. Nationals. And for us to have had the level of success that we've had there is just, I can't even put into words how wonderful it is.
Think of how many people have gone through the years wanting a trophy, and you guys have brought home more than one.
And, that's one of those tracks that when it was built, it was on the edge of town. Now it's in the middle of town,
right.
kind of like the actual Indy 500, the Brickyard.
Oh, not unlike Baytown.
There you go. Yeah, kind of, where the town has grown up around it. And so, that our Pomona, there's a lot of history there. And everybody, listen, Indy is the mecca of drag racing, and it always will be. Yeah, it is. Well, my friend, it's great to talk to you. We thank you so much for joining us today. Good luck on the adventures here in the next month or so, and good luck out there at Emmons Motors. Tell everybody where Emmons Motors is.
We are in Webster, Texas, 1423 FM 528, right at the 528 NASA Road 1 exit. We're a quarter mile off the freeway on the left-hand side. You can't miss us.
What time do you close today?
Today we'll be here till 6, but hours mean absolutely nothing. If the customers are here, we will stay here as long as it takes.
There you go.
So get in your car and bring it there now.
Gary, it's great to talk to you. Thanks again, my friend. Good luck, and we'll see you soon.
Yeah, thank you.
Good to see you guys. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
I love talking to him.
Yeah. Well, a lot of fun. He's excited about the racing, but he can also tell he's got a real passion for the business.
Yeah, a true car guy in every sense of the word.
I remember the old thought of back when they were real young and they were drag racing is you didn't want to buy a car from them because they were busy drag racing on the weekends. And we knew that wasn't true, but that was kind of the going joke.
Going joke.
Right, yeah, exactly. Well, it's interesting to have lived in the drag racing community for all the years that I have, and to know what a huge community it is, and it's a great bunch of friends that are all together because of cars. Kind of like this.
Connected as well,
Yeah, and he was talking about all the fans that are in the stands when you go out to Baytown to the races, particularly the Spring Nationals when we go out there. But then you go look in the pits. And all the racers like him that are out there, they know each other. They're talking to each other.
He's got a big footprint with his pit.
Well,
yeah,
but not everybody does that. But just they're all. It's very, very friendly. I mean, it's not like a big rival like they're fighting out there in the pitch. It's like they literally help each other.
Well, I think that's what Don says. Everybody knows each other, so you're all kind of friends to a point. And that point is when you move underneath the building and you're standing at the light, he's not your friend anymore. He's your opponent.
Well, he did say he's got a racer dealership friend in Louisiana that's also a racer. So that's the camaraderie.
Yeah. Well, all of us car guys kind of all hang together, and over the years you get to know this guy, and that guy knows this guy, and he introduces you to them, and it's a big family event. And of course the Emmons brothers, they do physically take up a large footprint with all of the haulers and all of the cars, because they've got multiple cars running in different categories. And the cars have the same kind of paint scheme on them. It's fun to see them all out there, and all of them standing around talking to each other, and
and wondering if it's the same driver in every car in every category.
Yeah.
I know they told the joke about that a couple of times ago.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so let me do a couple of headlines here, shall we? Honda Motor Company is dropping another car. This time, it's the slow-selling Acura NSX. They call it a
really?
supercar. I don't call it
I
a
don't-
supercar.
It used to be.
I'd call it a,
Yeah, it's never really been a supercar.
sports car.
One that I can't get in because there's not enough headroom. Never has been. It's obviously made for short people. Last year, Honda killed off the Fit hatchback, the Civic Coupe, and the manual transmission version of the Honda sedan, the Accord. Both the Honda and Acura brands are pivoting toward light trucks to boost volume. Now, in this case, light trucks, what they mean is SUVs. For the final year of the second generation NSX, Acura will offer a run of 350 units of the car globally in a sport trim Type S spec. So grab
Sorry
them
to
while
see
you
it
can.
go.
I'm not.
No,
I think
it's
that-
a
I think that the-
cool-looking car.
I think that they lost it when they redid it. I think that the original version was really cool and unique and fun, and it had horsepower and certainly had the sexy look. But I think that they kind of lost it in this thing. And Honda has a tendency to do that. In some of they have brilliant designs that come out, and then they change it when they update it, and it kind of turns into a frump. It's like, what is that about? But that Acura, now there's a car. New cars will be required to have technology to detect drunk drivers and a system to keep children from being accidentally left in vehicles on hot days under a series of long-sought safety measures included in the infrastructure bill awaiting a vote in the U.S. Senate. Other provisions included in the 2,702-page bill are a mandate for automatic emergency braking and crash avoidance systems for new cars and rear guards for semi-trailer trucks to keep the passenger compartments of cars from being crushed in rear impact collisions. That is a long time
sounds like
coming.
infrastructure to me.
The number of U.S. traffic deaths rose by 7.2% from the previous year, despite a 13.2% decrease in the vehicle miles traveled. And I bank that on the fact that there's fewer cars and people are speeding more. Now, on the Beltway, the speed limit is now 80.
Posted?
No, not posted. That's how fast they're
Keep
going.
from getting run over.
And I'm serious. And this has just been this summer. In the past 3 months, as this phenomenon started.
Well, I've noticed
80.
people are speeding a lot too.
Because there's less cars in the way.
No,
in
well,
the way.
No, there's not. Matter of fact,
I'll tell you-
I had one pass me at doing at least 95.
Yikes!
And they definitely got pulled over, and wouldn't surprise me if they got put to jail.
Is it
because
20?
over will get you to jail.
Yep. Jail time.
Yeah.
And then they got all the folks that are, the drivers that are going wrong way.
There's
Oh,
that.
there's been a rash of that lately.
telling
How
you.
scary is that?
Here's one for you. Auto mechanics working at 56 Chicago area car dealerships went on strike last Monday after voting to reject a proposal for a new contract. The employees in question work at stores that are part of the New Car Dealer Committee of Chicago of 2021, also known as the NCDC, some sort of, cockamamie
AC/DC.
union thing. ACDC, that's it.
Sounds like a highway to hell.
I'm telling you.
We're going on the highway to hell.
And nobody's going to fix your car on the way.
New
They're
York
all on
International
strike.
Auto Show
Bells,
has
bells.
been canceled a little more than 2 weeks before it was set to start as COVID-19
Nice
cases
timing.
spread. And after state and local officials announced new safety measures and a corrupt governor who is groping all of his
No.
women friends, it marks the second straight year the show has been canceled because of the coronavirus.
When did that
Because of the
happen?
governor.
J.D. Power confirmed, they're afraid that he's going to go there and grope all the females. Confirmed that the Auto Forum New York, scheduled for August 18th, is also canceled. So that's the latest in that department. Good luck on that New York governor guy.
And his little brother Fredo.
Dude, what
Guido.
is wrong with that?
Guido or Fredo?
And they elected this guy to be the governor?
And they're probably going to reelect him.
What a piece of
because he's
trash.
back up again in 2022.
Yeah, I don't think they'll reelect him.
Oh,
but I
I
don't
bet
think
you
they'll
they
kick
will.
him out. Nah.
No, they're not gonna.
Well,
Imagine that.
it's been a great show, and we thank you.
It has been a good show.
So we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to wrap things up here on the In Wheel Time Car Show right after this.
Houstonian-owned Bayway Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has the most sought-after models in the Houston area today. When you're in the market for a new or used vehicle, you now have a place to go. General Manager Lincoln Stahl guarantees Bayway will beat any competitor's written price on the new vehicle you choose or pay you $1,000. Bayway Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram is easy to get to on Highway 225 near Beltway 8 in Pasadena. Whether it's online or in person, you're welcome like one of the family. Bayway Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram.com. Tailpipes and Tacos, Houston's premier monthly car cruise-in, returns Saturday, August 21st at 2 Loopy Tortilla Mexican restaurants in Katy and inside the Loop on the Southwest Freeway near Kirby. Tailpipes and Tacos is free and everyone is invited. You'll see collector cars, hot rods, customs, magnificent originals, and resto mods at 2 locations. Cars from all over Southeast Texas cruise in and show off in a friends and family event at the Loopy Tortilla Mexican restaurant on the Grand Parkway at Kingsland Boulevard just south of I-10 in Katy, and inside the Loop on the Southwest Freeway near Kirby. Drag racer, car enthusiast, and Loopy founder Stan Holt brings you Houston's hottest cruise-in. Tailpipes and Tacos at Loopy's inside the Loop on the Southwest Freeway in Kirby, and in Katy on the Grand Parkway just south of I-10, where you'll see the In Wheel Time Car Show. Get your ride ready and we'll see you at the Tailpipes and Tacos Saturday morning cruise-in at Loopy's in Katy and Kirby, August 21st, 8 to 11 a.m., weather permitting. Gulf Coast Auto Shield has moved to a more convenient location. Now you can visit John Gray and his staff of dedicated professionals at their new shop on the South Sam Houston Parkway between Belford and Airport in Southwest Houston. Gulf Coast Auto Shield is the best at paint correction and ceramic coatings. Clear bras and custom wraps are specialties that only Gulf Coast Auto Shield installs with award-winning accuracy, and all their services come with a warranty. Lamborghini, Aston Martin, Porsche, and Ferrari owners depend on Gulf Coast Auto Shield for their specialty services, and you should too. The In Wheel Time Corvette and Cutlass have both been massaged by Gulf Coast Auto Shield, so isn't it time your vehicle visit their new shop in Southwest Houston? Call John Gray today at 832-930-5655 or visit online at gcautoshield.com. That's gcautoshield.com. Paint, coatings, wraps, and more at gcautoshield.com.
Well, that's a wrap for another episode of the In Wheel Time Car Show. Hey, when you're on Facebook, please give us a like. Tell your friends about us and share our junk, if you will. You'll get Conrad's unicorn hunting features along with all things automotive all week long. The In Wheel Time Car Show streams live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and on InWheelTime.com every Saturday, 8 to 11 Central. Podcasts are available from your favorite podcast outlet 7 days a week. Special thanks to all of our guests today. The In Wheel Time Chief Engineer is David Ainsley. Our Marketing Manager and Video Technical Director is the We Need More Jeff Zekin. For booking agent and podcast man, Mike Out of This World Mars, and his royalty, King Conrad DeLong, I'm Don Armstrong. Hey, if you missed any of our Saturday live broadcasts, catch the 30-minute podcast segments that are updated daily on your favorite audio and video streaming platforms. Today's show was produced by Question Mark and the Mysterians. Have a great weekend. Stay cool, like you know you are. We'll see you next week.
That's it for this podcast episode of the In Wheel Time Car Show. I'm Don Armstrong, inviting you to join us for our live show every Saturday morning, 8 to 11 a.m. Central on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and our InWheelTime.com website. Podcasts are available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeart Podcast, Podcast Addict, TuneIn, Pandora, and Amazon Music. Keep listening, and we'll see you soon.